I would if I did a show where he analyzed and solved pure kerfuffles from a world not beyond.
Cha 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 cha. Fuck it, man. Yeah, I'm struggling here. I'm struggling. That's what's happening. Okay.
I'm your host, Lexi Old, and joining me as always is Kid Nate of Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight. Everything you ever wanted to know about ass kicking, but were afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
Yeah,
Collectively, the MMA Puncholes.
Puncholes!
Now, Eugene, you're the UFC. With your TV licensing rights for UFC programming up for grabs, how do you spin last weekend's UFC on Fox 26 ratings failure live and in public, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, you, you at this point, we are well beyond spinning, right? I mean, it's like a guy tried to sell me a motorcycle once, and there was a big stain of oil underneath in Denver, and I had to ride it to California. And I look at the guy, and at this point now, it's like the Israeli border guards. I look at the guy, and go, "Will this motorcycle make it to California?" And he looks deep in my eyes like a terrorist, and he says, "Yes, yes, it will." And that's when I knew he was lying. The fact of the matter is, you're only going to get the stupidest person or a person of great vision, nobody in the middle, to actually pick up the rights on this, because you can either subscribe to the theory laid out by Jake Shields was telling me about, laid out by is it Rockhold? Or somebody recently talked about how they were terribly mismanaging, and he thought it was so bad that it had to be purposeful. And you need to get these guys out of there, revanch, and start again. So you need to get somebody a vision, or somebody who's so stupid that they just don't know what to do with all the billions of dollars that they're going to be trying to gank out of them. There's no in between. You can't, if you sit down with a pen and a paper and a calculator, you can't make sense, like I've been saying on Knuckle Up, you can't make sense of 2018 vis-a-vis MMA. You just can't. You can't. So if I'm the bald one, if I'm the UFC, if I'm WME Endeavor, at this point now, I'm hoping, they say a sucker's born at every minute. I'm hoping for either that, or I'm talking to super smart VC, Sandhill Road, Kleiner Perkins type cats who are like, do you see any way out of this? With your tremendous vision, can you see a way out of the misty climbs, the wood-piley ways where we found ourselves? Because there's no hope any other way.
What do you do, Nate?
Well, I was waiting to be asked, and I'm glad you did. Eugene pretty much
Such
covered.
a kind gentleman.
Between the ratings, which they have relentlessly eroded, and there was no excuse for Saturday because there was no big competition Saturday. The ratings measured against this same Saturday, which has historically been a really good weekend for the UFC, and they've just emptied the cupboards. Their offerings are feeble. I mean, Rafael Dos Anjos is one guy that's had some exposure and maybe should click better with fans. But I think his performances have been so erratic. Like sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's not, and he just hasn't clicked with people to the extent maybe he should have. But otherwise, they're just peddling shit that there's no reason to expect it to get over with people. And Robbie Lawler, God bless him, had that run at the title, but he's a wrung-out washcloth, and people pretty much know that he's a spent force. Between that, the erosion of their product quality, and then Fox selling to Disney, with the Fox Sports empire being like a fiefdom nobody wants in the deal, they are looking at no bidders now. I mean, this is vertical integration at its worst. There's, Disney has overbid via ESPN for so many sports rights and is so obligated for so long, and people are cutting the cord way faster than they thought, and live sports programming is not holding. I mean, NFL ratings are just in this vicious erosion, and it's not kneeling, and I don't even think it's CTE. I think people are just staring at their phones instead of watching the football games is what I think is going on. And also, it's just a pretty played out product. I mean, NFL was huge in the 70s, same shit in the 80s, kind of upgraded the 90s, but it's on a 40 or 50-year run, and people are tired of it. And mainly, you got ESPN, you had Fox. There's nobody else to be in a bidding war. Maybe Amazon, maybe Netflix, but they're not looking to put the kind of money down, the sucker money, that WME and Goldman Sachs told people that the media companies were going to be putting down. So now they're in a spot where their whole play to pay back the loans they took out hinged on getting a $400 million deal for this. They're not going to get a quarter of that. I think their price is going to be lower than what they got last time. So I don't know what the fuck they can do. Improve the product. That's my advice, because the media environment's not changing in their favor.
Well, given things not in their favor, let's continue with the UFC. Nate, as UFC, how should you handle the welterweight title in wake of Tyron Woodley's injury, a ratings loser, and a wannabe pro wrestler?
I mean, I don't think the titles mean anything. That's the thing. At this point, they've squandered every belt they have. They just need to be booking money fights right now. It's too late to try to get the title credibility back. And Tyron Woodley has done here's my thought. Give it to Colby Covington. Give Colby Covington the shot, because I thought this kid was going too far and fucking it up. But I definitely remember his name, and other people remember his name, and he has pushed the act so far that it's clearly an act, and it's starting to get actually entertaining. I mean, I don't know if he's going to eat live babies on TV, but he's flirting with it.
Babies.
Yeah, and you know, that's my thought on the Woodley deal. Is there's nobody in the division that's looking like money at all, so it's a complete rebuilding thing. So rebuild, like, just admit your product is screwed. All your titles are worthless, and basically treat it like you're starting over. That's my thinking.
What do you do?
I don't know what that actually entails, but
well, first of all, I want somebody to stand up in my defense here. That Chase Sherman is now either calling Colby Crappington or Colby Cuntington. I don't know which. I can't tell because it's a well-placed asterisk, but on MMA imports. But they've got it to a Twitter war. So once you get glossed, as I've glossed him with a Crappington, or a Sherman may have glossed him, a Cuntington, this is not a guy that you're going to build a promotion on. Nobody gives a fuck about that. I would stop if he was at 7-Eleven by the juniper bushes getting into a scrap with Bob the Wino, but I'm not paying to see Colby Crappington do shit, you know? I generally try not to give my money to snitches. Sorry. In terms of, yeah, I did say that. I did say that. So I think that I've been sounding the alarms, the klaxons, for a dire 2018, but I don't markedly disagree with Kid Nate here on what's happened with that division. It's like I talked about Gargantua and Pantagruel, a book by Rabelais. I gotta tell you, if you are prone to panic over stuff like this, panicking makes good sense right about now. There's nothing. There's nothing. And you know how serious the nothing is? Do you have any sense of the ramifications of the nothing? Let me tell you how serious the nothing is. The nothing is so serious that they actually got fucking leaned on McNuggets to come out and say, "Oh, I'm finished with fake fighting. I'm going to do a real fight now." He may or may not, but they rolled him out to say that shit right away to get people focused on something, anything. You know, on the 5th, 6th day of Hanukkah, they needed something desperate. They roll that guy out. He takes off his cardboard mask for a few seconds and goes, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to fight. Who? I don't know. Not Oscar De La Hoya, but MMA, because it's real. And I'm going to get back on the table here in a few seconds and dance. Fuck off." But I mean, I don't, you know, and I have to say, if you think it's accidental, we're witnessing a good old East Coast union work sick out. It is not accidental. It is not accidental. Nobody's watching this guy shop for fucking Ferraris and sitting at home feeling very good about it. So the Nick and the Nate Diaz is like, You know where to find us, 209. Yeah, I got some surgery, says Ty Woodley. You don't treat me well. I might as well take care of myself. Everybody is doing some version of a sick out, you know.
Well, see, that's why I think they might as well go with Colby Covington versus RDA because, my biggest criticism of Covington was he was building up a fight. He was breaking the true rule of being a heel, which is you heal up fights that you can actually create and make and cash in on. So with RDA beating Robbie Lawler, the UFC, I think, what better option do they have in that division, especially for that title? Try to cash in your Colby Covington chips against a Brazilian. See if that's any kind of traction whatsoever. See if it sticks. See what you can do with it. Best case scenario for them, they have 2018 version. It sounds blasphemous to Conor-ness, but you get to rehash the Aldo, Conor McGregor kind of beef in place. Number one. The reason why it's good also is if Colby Covington loses, RDA wins, and maybe you can dust off the red panty night thing for Conor McGregor.
Man, you know what it sounds like, man?
Chips.
It sounds like you're trying to spin prison rape. Well, he's pretty handsome, and he was always sort of nice to me before he raped me, and
he brought me a Snickers.
And he only takes my commissary half the time, and
but what else are they going to do, man? Like, seriously, what are they going to do? They're going to let's wait for T Wood to come back and then have RDA, a guy who's a ratings loser, go up against him. I mean, that's how bad their hand is with that division.
Yeah,
so you don't have any legitimate. We're gonna do Wonder Boy again. Like you might as well put Covington against the Brazilian, see how that goes, and then take it from there. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's a horrible situation. Instead of justifying prison rape, it's more of a situation where it's I don't know, justifying fucking an apple pie versus a ham sandwich. I mean, I don't. What the fuck's gonna
don't knock even unless you tried it, my friend.
I mean, that division is just barren. There's nobody in the top 10 except Darren Till, other than Covington, that's at all on an upswing. And Wonder Boy and Woodley killed fan interest in themselves with those two fights. I mean, I didn't never want to see either of those guys again, and I liked both of them, especially Wonder Boy, but Woodley had flashes of brilliance and brutality even in those two fights, but the overall memory is just endless rounds of nonsense, and nobody wants.
And then
to
even
see
Maya
that
Woodley. I mean, again, Woodley had a good game plan, but nobody wants. That's just not an entertaining fight. Sorry.
Mm-mm.
So what else can you do? You might as well put Colby Covington in, or Crappington, trademarked to. Well, you can say that on me. If you put him in there against RDA, and that's the best you can hope for that.
Hey, man, I wouldn't hire that guy to fucking drive my bus. And I would think very significantly, if I hired Colby Crappington to drive my bus, I would be sitting in like Woody Allen and Annie Hall with Christopher Walken is driving them to the fucking airport. That's the way I would feel, trusting my endeavor, my ratings. Yeah, I got it. That's the same kind of confidence I would feel trusting a franchise, a division to Cuntington, whatever.
Well, that's why you can tell the enthusiasm in my voice in terms of pitching the fight and walking through it, right? Speaking of enthusiasm or lack thereof, Eugene, you're Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Do either of you have a scintilla of an interest in fighting GSP?
No, you gotta be fucking kidding. What is that thing that Snoop said? If he can't swim, he's gonna drown. I mean, I'm sure old French Canadian Georgie would like $130 million payday, but you gotta understand that's a heavy lift, right? I mean, but one thing that McGregor knew, McNuggets knew, and one thing that Mayweather knew is that they were only going to be shouldering about 50% of the work. And in Mayweather's case, since he was the boss, maybe not even 50, maybe only 25%. I got to show up, say, do some hip hop smack, and then let McNuggets get some race blast, and we got ourselves a fight. So that's it. Who who is going to gin up a fight with, I mean, you got to understand the fight, what happens in the ring is only a portion of it, man. Getting the asses in the seats is creating the story and the drama. It's just too much of a lift. And I think that GSP, if he's having anxiety issues, if his head game is getting shaky, you know, what's he gonna do in a boxing arena? I don't see anybody having any interest in this who is sane. How about that?
Well, even if they dust off the footage of him, his massive boxing skills, crushing Josh Koscheck's orbital bone, and have Freddie Roach in there, like trying to gin up the fight, you know,
it's not gonna work, man. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you know,
you guys are crazy. GSP just 250,000 buys against Bisping. I mean, the guy's still a draw, and fans are not smart enough. Like, they heard the name GSP, and they'll buy McGregor versus GSP, and GSP is a perfect foil for him. As
do that first press conference. I respect him very much. I mean, it's like Lacus Gravis. You kidding me?
Yeah,
come on.
That's just one of the. He's just one of the characters in Life's a Rich Pageant. I mean, he's done great business for the UFC for over a decade, and he's a perfect foil for McGregor with all that shit. He can get his race car single bed out.
Hold on. It dawns on me that one of us may be confused. Are we talking about Mayweather versus GSP?
No. I'm talking about McGregor versus GSP. Mayweather.
No, that's not what he said.
No, the question was either one of them. It's either one of them.
That question is so ridiculous. I dismissed it out of hand because Mayweather doesn't want. That's just ridiculous. But now Mayweather in the UFC. Now that's a freak show. I like the sound of. Although they can't afford him at this point in time.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. And, okay, the second part of the equation.
Did you hear him talking about it? He was talking it up.
I'm just glad to have somebody there with a fuzzy microphone in front of him. Give me a fucking break.
See, the only way I want to see that, I think would be great, is if they had the boxing fight and they had Nick Diaz, like, coaching, kind of like Apollo Creed coaching Rocky.
You got to do something.
That would be hilarious. Can you imagine? Like Nick Diaz coming out, like helping him with his boxing skills, and you can do like one of those 24/7 things with it. Like just the footage of like Nick Diaz like no showing in the for training, and just the surliness.
I think everybody knows that the McGregor Mayweather thing was a one-off. If you're gonna duplicate that, McGregor Pacquiao would be the way to go. GSP does not deserve to be in those conversations. The Diaz brothers as boxers, that's the uncanny valley, because they're almost good enough as boxers to make you think that they have a chance. They don't have a chance.
And I think they've trained enough with Andre Ward to know how much they don't have a chance. I mean, anybody would take a swing at 135 mil, but I don't see them doing it. The second half of the equation that I missed was, yes, McNuggets and GSP would hold some interest for me. That would be a fight.
That could save the welterweight division right there.
GSP against Mayweather is what I was coming down on. That's
that's a terrible idea. Yes.
GSP
handled that.
No, GSP and McNugget, I would pay to see that. But you know what? What you need to get that fight, the exact opposite of what you need with the Mayweather fight. You actually don't need him yapping and squawking up there on the stage to gin up the fight. That's not going to gin up the fight.
Him, McGregor?
Yeah, McNuggets. You don't need to see him drawn, because he's not going to get any return volley from a GSP. What you need to see him do is redouble himself to fucking training, because training like a lunatic is precisely what what GSP is going to be doing. So if they start making video packages of him buckling down, straight blast gym, fucking killing himself, bringing in different team guys to work with, then you take it seriously.
But what if GSP comes back with like My Dark Places? And
not enough.
I was not impressed with your performance.
No.
It's gonna hurt somebody.
I mean, the closest that we could sort of get him getting actually pissed off, I think Bisping managed to do it. I think he would appreciate how clever McNuggets is and would just kind of laugh. But
don't you think? I mean, but here's the thing, though. I think the hope is, I don't know if you're getting at this, Nate, but the hope is that they can recapture some of that Nick Diaz GSP press conference magic, because that was, listen to me, you uneducated fool. All right, he was losing his shit against Nick Diaz, you know. So
that's right. Yeah.
so maybe that's what they remember that.
I mean, honestly, they could save themselves a lot of grief and just book GSP Diaz too.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
You know, except that Diaz brothers are giving him grief. Like that's why they can't come to terms with him.
It's a stick out. A friend of mine just got back from Sicily, and he said, you know what they have in Sicily, which he took pictures of and sent me. You have 10 feet high walls of garbage. He's driving by with his cousin. He says, "What's the go deal with the garbage?" His cousin goes, "Libertad." You know, freedom. Wait of it. The garbage companies will not pick up the garbage. So this is about a year ago that the 10-foot high walls. So he goes back and he goes, well, I wonder if they're 10-foot high walls. Now they're 10-foot high walls that are set ablaze. They're burning the garbage because they won't pick it up. And still the garbage people are, we're not going to pick it up until we get terms favorable to our lot in life. The reality of it is the Diaz is not doing shit, man. They can live perfectly comfortably in 209 for the rest of their fucking lives. And they're not, you could say, look, I'm really trying. I got you 10 mil. Could you? I think they would do it for 10 mil if it was an earnest effort. But the bullying, the stuff that you did, you know what it's like? It's like if you've ever been, I'm going to give some words of wisdom to men in high school who are struggling with the dating scene. Wait 15 years, because what was a struggle at 15, at 30 will be a different kind of struggle. You'll be trying to escape. That's what it'll be like. And that's where we are now. Yeah, it seems like the Baldwin has forgotten that he's no longer the attractive slip of a promoter he once had been, and that people just don't need you. I don't fucking need you, man. I want more money. You gave me more money. Now that I've got more money, I really don't need you. So he's got to get serious about the money, and I just don't see him doing that because it's a macho thing. It's like it's Trumpian almost,
Sounds like a candidate for a kidney heel turn.
I've struggled on this with the heel turn this week in MMA, and it's like the whole thing is a heel, and Eugene's been covering that with the whole thing being dark starred and Lost Battalion. I mean, the Fox show this weekend, it had some glimmers, but I honestly feel like the whole sport has turned heel on us. I mean, even Bellator, there's nothing out there. The most entertaining MMA thing out there this week was this Instagram photo of what claimed to be some Chinese fighter's mouthpiece full of teeth. And they were mostly fake teeth. So, like, dude, maybe 2 of those were teeth and the rest of them were bad dentures. That was it, man. I mean, it's like, stupid sport for 20 years and this is what it's given me is just, this is a real low. I really thought we had hit the low 6 months ago, but we just keep dead cat bouncing lower and lower and lower, and it's just, and there's nobody emerging. I thought WME would bring some creativity and some flair and some Hollywood style glitz, but it's like, are they busy like preemptively Weinsteining themselves or something? I mean, like, what in the hell are they doing up there? Changing the name of the operation? I can't even, what did they change the name to? Intrepid? Endeavor?
Mike Goldberg. Sorry.
Yeah, Mike.
No, Goldberg was the one who started to say, look, they took fucking 15 years and destroyed it in 15 minutes. I don't know what they're thinking about, but go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of the other properties, that's the thing that got me with regard to the purchase is, again, if you look at older shows, we're talking about the potential for WME to use certain resources. Eugene's talk years ago about casting like real tough guys and girls and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think don't they also own like professional bull riding? So if you look at the other properties they own, that's what this fucking is. It's not something that they're looking at to maximize by working on it. It's just a property they own. And is it going to do something? Well, I guess we'll find out or not. It's just they're clearly they just really don't have. They are not invested in the product they own as we are invested as fans.
Yeah, and eventually, if you go to a restaurant and the waiter takes a long time to get to the table and the fucking eggs are undercooked and the bill is fucking wrong, you know what you don't do? You don't go back there. But you'll still eat. You like to eat, but you won't go back there, you know? So, I mean, yeah, it was Goldberg. I finally it dawned on me that he had said, you know, and then he made a very interesting parallel, which I'm sure he didn't know he had made, but it was like the invasion of Iraq, you know? Great, we beat them. No plan for the subsequent days afterwards. So it's like $4.2 billion on both sides of the you know, Ari Emanuel, he's a genius. Well, I've never really thought he was a genius, but okay, he's a genius. And the bald one, the Fertitas, we're geniuses. Everybody's a genius. A month later, nobody's looking like a genius. 6 months later, really nobody's looking like genius.
Lorenzo's looking pretty slick, I gotta say.
Yeah, the Fertitas.
Yeah. I'm talking about the guys who built the beach houses are pretty happy. The guys who are still involved, nobody's looking too smart at this point, you know. And my understanding is that Lorenzo actually has some iron still in the fire in terms of some financing, but he didn't get screwed with the Pride deal. I don't expect he's going to get screwed with this deal either. The guy comes out smelling like a rose every time. I guess a good degree from a fucking good MBA school does that for you. But
I think he learned his business in a different school.
You know what? I'm not going to let you besmirch the proud Italian people.
It's not the Italian people. It's the Fertitta family.
The proud Fertitta
it's
people.
The family business that they learned. And I'm not saying anything criminal. I mean, his cousin in Houston's rolling up the score. I don't think you learn that shit in business school.
Right.
I think you get it with mother's milk.
Yeah.
Do you learn about being a member of the Lost Battalion in any kind of school?
Yes, in a wonderful, wonderful way. Yeah, you know, the greatest thing about the Lost Battalion, I used to have this idea about this crystal ship that was going to come and rapture everybody away. And the funny thing about the crystal ship is that it is an active, it's a process-based thing. So you'll be sitting on the crystal ship and you'll be looking at the people who aren't raptured. You go, you suckers. And next thing you know, you're sitting back down off the ship, right? So the point is, it could be delayed. So the guy has a fight, loses a fight, comports himself like a gentleman post-fight, gets home. 3 weeks later, it's working on him. And then he says something like this. My loss to Eddie Alvarez was really a dream come true. Man. Your Lost Battalion buzzer goes off. The guy wakes up, goes, oh, shit. Who? Justin Gaethje. Thank you, sir. I guess you need to be somewhere. And it seems strange with a guy who's 10-1 or whatever the fuck he is at this point, 12-1, 11-1. You know, it seems straight at this point to kind of have him ushered so quickly. But you it's a blessing in disguise, really. What's the blessing? What is a blessing? Oh, you learned a lot, and that when you compete for the belt next time, there may not be a next time. I mean, there'll be a next time for this kid, but you keep saying misty shit like that, you know, people get worried, they get concerned. I'm concerned. So yeah, he is my one entry. I mean, in addition to the entire sport and the entire promotion on Saturday. I mean, I couldn't watch it live naturally because I was in Los Angeles with my good friend Chris Lieben and Oliveira and Keenan Cornelius, and we were stacking gold, if you know what I mean. 2 gold medals for Eugene S. Robinson.
I need the story, the backstory. Come on, you can be honest with us. How many buys were involved in your wins?
I don't really know what a buy is exactly.
Bye.
How many competitors were there? I think
I'm just going to show you a photo, which will explain everything. And I'm hoping you can see. I'm hoping.
Is it one man alone on the stand with 2 empty?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, it was a fine photograph taken by my wife and the associate and my most ardent supporter. And can you see that? Can you
exactly.
See that?
Oh, life is showing up. Life is showing up.
I gotta tell you, it's actually really fucking depressing, man. Because this is why I got so angry at Sorrell for when the IBJJF called him because I hadn't actually paid for the registration for the previous one. I didn't fucking talk to him for a month because it's like, you got to understand, man. You got to understand what I'm saying, man. There's not many of these left for me. How many guys are from 1962 going to fight? There was a guy there for me to fight. A guy there from the team. I saw him. I heard somebody call him by his name. And then in the warm-up room, the guy starts limping. It's like, come on, bro. You got to be, you heard, yeah, Eugene Robinson, yeah, I'm here. And then you start limping. Because you hoped that I wouldn't show up so you could just stand on the podium alone. What the fuck are you trying to?
I mean, it seems like you could go on forever with this. Like, how hard is,
this guy was a perfect, this was like a perfect hater. He shit in the middle of my fucking day. He's like, he shows up just to collect the medal, goes, oh, there's that Eugene Robinson. Fuck him.
Limp.
Yeah. David, you're about to be DQ'd. David, DQ'd. Okay, well, you should go. I started talking to Brazilians about a refund, and then they hand me a T-shirt, and then they tell me I can sign up for the Open, and I go for the Open though. I go, all right, I'm gonna sign for the Absolute Open, and I go over the Absolute Open, and then they call my name. I go, all right, I'm getting the Absolute Open, and I go over to the table. I go, where do you want me to weigh in again? And she goes, oh no, just stand on the podium. So I didn't get the $120 back. I got a T-shirt, 2 shiny gold medals, and left.
Hey,
there you go, man. At least it's something.
$120, the hotel room, food, and gasoline. Can't keep doing this, man.
Man. On that positive note, thanks for joining us. Follow us at Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, Alexio at Kid Native, Facebook at MMA Pancholes. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene. Leave comments on YouTube, subscribe to MMANation.com, YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow by Oxbow's Thin Black Duke. The number one album of the year. I saw that.
By some British kid who lives in his parents'
number
basement.
7 on Rolling Stone, though. That's pretty
Rolling Stone made it number 7. I don't know, and I just got the new versions of it from Hydra Head. So we've got the colored vinyl, we've got black, we got clear, and we got red. And for Christmas, we got white.
Wow.
So.
And immediately following the show, Eugene, what do they do? What they
go below. There's a link for If the Shoes Fit. We're going to stop this one. You follow us? We're going to stop this one. And in 3 minutes, we're going to go to the other one. So if you want to, click below and you go to the other one with us. Like right now. Sorry. In a few minutes. But I mean today.
No, right now. Right, Nate?
You're not going to do the mistakes of yet to be made? Come on.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not hitting the button until you do the mistakes of yet to be made. Come on. That's the tagline.
Hey, I have to show. Have I showed you this already? This is the picture on my phone. Can you make out what that was?
Auschwitz, the train to Auschwitz, Arbeit macht frei.
Yeah, it's Birkenau. It's a train line into Birkenau, and it matches it matches my mood. See,
I see.
I pick pictures based on my mood. Oops, sorry.
See, I always have the same one.
We'll be back next week with another installment if I did it, and we don't know what we're going to be discussing yet because the pure mistakes have yet to be made.
Ta-da!